Hey everyone, Anthony from Ace Woodco here with my dog Sawyer, and today we're building this planter box. It's a pressure treated planter box, painted black with cedar legs with a little bit of a shelving at the bottom. This is my entry to the Summer Builds 21. Thank you, Vic. I'll link his channel down below and enjoy this build. So today we're building this planter box, and right now I am cutting all the materials. For the box I ended up using pressure treated material, and for the legs I ended up using cedar. The outside dimensions of the planter box is 3 feet by 12.5 inches by 31 inches tall. And for the planter box I had 2 pieces cut at 3 feet, 2 pieces cut at 34.5, and 2 pieces cut at 11. I'll add a cut list down below in the description to help you out if you decide to make your own. I'm cutting down the legs now, which I made 29 inches tall, and then I'll rip it down on the table saw, 1.5 inches to give me that 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches leg. For the assembly for this process, I ended up using glues and stainless steel brad nails, and in some sections I ended up using glues and screws. This is going to be an outdoor planter box, and this box is going to be painted black too, so I'm not too worried about joinery. Once the sides were all glued and brad nailed, I ended up inserting the base. For the base I ended up brad nailing it together. It's going to be sitting on the base legs, so that will have great support for this box. And I also added some drainage holes. This will help drain water where it's needed. And since this is an outdoor planter bed, you never know what type of weather you're going to get. I'm now cutting my frame pieces, and I'll need my 4 legs at 29 inches, 4 support spreaders at 12.5 inches, and 3 middle spreaders at 21.25. Once I got those pieces cut, it's time to sand and get rid of any saw marks. For assembling the spreaders, I ended up pre-drilling a hole and screwing it together with pressure treated screws. I'm assembling the top spreader that will support the box. And here I'm assembling the bottom supports that will have a little shelf. I used an offcut to act as a spacer. It's a nice easy trick if you want to have equal spacing without the need to take your tape measure out. And it's actually pretty efficient. I'm marking out where I want to add the spreaders, and I wanted to do it at 3.5 inches below. That will give me 3.5 inches for the space underneath my shelf, and also give an accent around the box. I cut out 3.5-inch spacer blocks to hold the spreader. It makes it quite easy and handy when you're working alone. For the slats, I had cedar 1x6 that I ripped down to 1.5 inches, and I ended up ripping 10 pieces. Once I cut my pieces, I ended up calculating the spacing, which actually just worked out to 1 inch spacing. So I used a spacer block that was 1 inch. This gave me exactly the equal spacing that I needed. And since these pieces were cut all at the same length, I ended up adding a superficial stop block on one side. This will help keep everything in line and just make it much easier to line things up. And a little bit of branding action. It's time to paint the box, so I ended up sanding it down just lightly so the paint would adhere, and knocked off any extra debris. I used matte black paint. I think it gives it a nice modern look. And to attach the base to the box, I just pre-drilled some holes and screwed it together with pressure treated screws. And with a final sand and finish, we have a modern planter box that would be great for an herb garden or small plants. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like and subscribe button, and until next time, happy planting!